Welcome back to another episode of the Mirrors Podcast. My name is Brady Steer. As always, here in our virtual studio with my brother Leo. Leo, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Let's go. You probably can't tell, maybe a little bit. I had a dentist appointment this morning.
Ooh.
Got a stinking. So I went to get my teeth cleaned or whatever, yearly whatever checkup, and I'm feeling good about life. And I'm like, I'm great. And then they come like, hey, yeah, you got a cavity. We'll probably get an appointment to fill it. I'm like, I have a cavity? Like where? Like I don't like tooth pain, and I feel like I've been taking care of my teeth. I'm like, what the heck? Sometimes it's just luck of the draw, but I was like so surprised because I was feeling so good about it. At the same time, I'm glad they're gonna catch it early than late, I guess.
Yeah.
So at the back, very back tooth, and just like kind of along the side and between the two teeth, and so I got that taken care of, but definitely like can't feel a lot right there. So that's pretty numb.
Yeah. I think the dentist is one of my least favorite places to go because
one Hundred
yeah, it's
percent.
just I've never enjoyed teeth stuff.
Now I had a traumatic experience once where because I have a retainer, and long story short, I had to get like a root canal done, but they were numbing it, and the lady was numbing it, and I was like, I gotta be honest, I can still feel it, and I don't want to feel this.
Yeah.
She's like, well, the only other thing we can do is put the numbing right on within the tooth. That's gonna hurt, but then it'll be numb. And I said, do it, and it worked. So,
Yeah.
but I was like, goodness gracious, I felt like a pansy. I was like, I'm sorry, lady, I this hurts too much.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that makes you a pansy. That'd be incredibly painful having someone dig in
It
your
is.
root canal like that.
Yeah, it's not a great experience, but it is motivational to help keep your teeth clean. That's for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, that's cool. I wanted to start today, and I know we're gonna dive into stuff. So for us and for our audience, this will not be a long conversation. So maybe 5 6 minutes, but just want to recap since Battlefield we have played it. Just kind of okay. We talked about what do we think it's going to be good, what do we think is going to be bad, need improvement. What are some of your takes on the game just from what you said last time? Where were you right? Where were you wrong?
um, I was right about how much I enjoy the game. To put it
You're pretty. He's
simply,
Leo's pretty good at it. He's pretty good at it.
it's definitely the most fun I've had with a FPS in like 6 years at least. So that's like awesome. It's a lot of fun. I will say the vehicles are pretty good. I'm getting better at using them. Which I think getting better at using the vehicles makes you understand why they can be overpowered at times. Because I never
Mm,
was great at like flying vehicles, and I talked about in the last episode how they can be people can like abuse the out of bounds stuff. There might be even some issues where they need to buff that for some maps, um, especially like the newer map that's pretty open. It's hard to fly at all. So I think that's stuff I was all like expecting, and it all is yeah I guess what I was expecting and what I wanted it to be.
hmm I've seen some YouTube shorts and YouTube clips about people just. It's like the medic gets 5 kills and 37 revives. The assault gets like 47 kills, 30 deaths, but like all the caps. And then the recon's in the back with 21 kills, 0 deaths, no help to the team. Everybody's just looking at him like, you
Yeah.
made us lose, man. You made us lose. And one thing we talked about is too many snipers on rush and breakthrough,
Hmm.
which hasn't happened too much, but it has happened. So that was accurate. But that's not really a game thing. It's more of like a players thing. But I think
Yeah.
just sniping in general has been a little too heavy. I think it's just the Call of Duty community, honestly, coming into it a little bit more, and just with how good people are with
Yeah.
mouse and keyboard and those big guns. So it's like, wow, I've never seen this many accurate snipers in Battlefield before.
Yeah. I think you said it pretty good. It's the newer players, whether it's from Call of Duty or from just people who haven't played Battlefield. Sniping in a game like that is like it sounds super fun. So that's like, going to be what a lot of people go to first. So I think
Mhm.
it'll smooth out a little more over time, and they might change some of the stuff with the guns. Um, like I said, it's been one of the most funs I've had. Doesn't mean there's not issues with it. There's definitely bugs and everything, but that's with every game. I think a lot of people think that games have to come out and be perfect. I don't know of even the best games. I don't know of any of them that are perfect right out the gate with no updates needed. And I think that's understandable because you need a lot of players to test everything out. It's hard to do that in a
Yeah.
beta.
Speaking of that, one of the things I thought was going to happen was one of the gadgets was going to be need to be nerfed, and I don't know if I'm right or not about that because the assault ladder was one that people complained about because people were cheesing it to get the spots they weren't supposed to get.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, it needs to be nerfed so that it can't be used as frequently. But the ladder itself, you destroyed in like one or two shots.
Yeah.
And similar with the recon thing, like it's not meant for you to like hammer on top of it to go higher, but people were doing that. So it's like it's not the gadget's fault. So if they just fix those little things, I think those are fine.
Yeah. I think those are more bug fixes or
Yeah.
map fixes than nerfing the gadget. I think most of the gadgets are pretty well balanced. I haven't had issues with any of them, honestly.
The only one I would, and I'm not even, I actually haven't used it yet. Now that I think about it, but it's the mortar. It's only happened once or twice where you get
Yeah.
like six people on a mortar on a base objective, and they
Yeah.
just keep hitting the base, and so you can't get in there. Like it's hard because those same people are literally sitting still,
Mm.
so they're not shooting. I don't know. So that I don't know if it needs to be nerfed or whatever, but that's just one other that I'm hesitant about. Like maybe have a longer reload between shots of the mortar or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's similar with some of the vehicles on maps too. It's the fact they can sit like way behind cover in their zone, like in their spawn area, and still
Mm,
hit bases. I think that's more of an issue because you can't even see them with a gun. You have to use like a recon drone, which if people are watching, they'll just shoot it out of the sky or whatever, or it
mm-hmm.
won't even have battery to get there. So it's those types of like border issues because people complain about the anti-air vehicles sitting in spawn all the time and being able to hit jets super far away on the
Yeah.
new map. That's one of the issues I was talking about with the new map. Um, so if they just fix some of that, I think it would be a lot smoother gameplay and just less like abusing those certain things. They're not too bad. It, I don't think it's like really affected a game at all, but it's just kind of
Mhm.
annoying to play against.
Yeah, if anything, it's hey, you get your buddies and you're all just having fun shooting mortars together to see what happens. But
Yeah.
I'm sure they get successful one or two maps, and I'm sure they get run through all the other ones because like
Yeah,
that didn't work.
exactly.
So you just get one bad luck of the draw. I remember we had like six going against us that one map, and we couldn't get that last base, and it was just like you can't get in there. Like it's just you're
Hmm.
hitting the same spot. But anyways, enough with that. I thought we should reflect back on that since we made some bold claims maybe before. Uh, but yeah, well, I have a couple. Well, really one small topic, but just thinking about being an adult, with like insurance, investing, finances, stuff like that. But what do you got today?
So mine, I will preface this by saying mine has like topics of depression and suicidal thoughts and suicide. So I'm just warning anyone listening to this before talking about it because I know it's sensitive. But it's my specific topic is about animal welfare professionals, specifically vets, but it's like even some volunteers and people that have special needs animals deal with it. They're at like the highest rate of suicide.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I think vets is one of, if not the highest occupation, like occupational suicide rate. And
And just for clarity, veterinarian. It's not like veteran.
yeah, veterinarians.
Okay, okay.
When I was looking something up about it, and I actually typed in veterans because I know they're obviously high as well. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't really want to like talk about too much general stuff because I know a lot of this can apply in different areas. So I want to talk about it specifically in this field for today's episode, I guess. The main issue with it is, well, there's something called OSRS, so occupational related stress response syndrome is what I've learned it to be called. And basically with vets, you have, a large part of the job is euthanizing animals, putting animals down, and that causes compassion fatigue, which basically you can't have, like, it's so hard for someone to feel so bad and have so much compassion for all these animals all the time. um Doing it like years after years after years, and that's super draining on a person, and it doesn't let them have compassion for other people or themselves. It makes it a lot harder, and it causes like depression and all these other mental issues that often lead to suicide, which is very sad. Um,
Mm.
However, that's like the biggest part of it, but it's not necessarily the part I wanted to talk about because
Okay.
I think that's pretty well known. Like if you think about it, like yeah, that makes sense. That's hard for
Yeah.
people. So you'd think that, oh, we should show compassion for them and help them since their suicide rate is so high and help them to feel better and to enjoy their profession, right? However, the other side of it is there's so much criticism from people about anyone that caring for their pet. And I've noticed it. I consume a lot of dog related content because I'm studying to become a dog trainer. So
Mm.
it like hits harder for me, I guess, in that sense. But you see someone taking care of an animal in any slightly different way, and you look in the comments of a post and you'll see a bunch of hate about like, oh, you're using this, you're doing this, blah, blah, blah. But like, are you watching the video? The dog looks perfectly happy. Who cares what they're doing in that time? Don't criticize this person for obviously having a healthy, happy animal. I feel like
Mm.
it's just super disrespectful to that person, and it shows no, like, I don't even know the word, no compassion, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's one of those things where when you see someone in a situation like that where they're doing something that you don't quite like to one of your animals, like don't be super rude to them, don't berate them, don't don't curse them, whatever. They're human beings trying their best to care for the animal in the best way that they know how to. And so maybe even though they're professional, maybe like all professionals can still learn stuff. Just because someone's a professional doesn't make them perfect at what they do. Um, so if you're an owner of an animal, you can, I'm sure the professional would love you to politely ask and like question things they're doing, but in like a respectful, compassionate way. So it doesn't lead to stress and anxiety and depression and in some cases suicide.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's just super sad.
Can you give us an example of something that a video maybe that you even saw, but that somebody commented and is like, "Wait, why is this guy so mad? It's just like I'm just taking care of the dog."
One of the biggest things I've seen is actually I can think of like three things right off the bat.
Okay,
Um,
let's hear him.
me and my mom or our mom were just talking about it the other day when I was bringing this topic up to her, and she was talking about one of her past dogs she had to put down and how the vet seemed like it was trying to help keep not put the dog down to get like this surgery and all this. It's super expensive, obviously,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And you have people that they hear these and they'll just, I mean, some people don't have filters. They'll get so angry at these people on the phone, whether they have control over the prices or not, about not being able to afford it. So something simple like that. Obviously, it's a super
Yeah.
sad and stressful situation having to put your animal down that you've, cared
That's what I was
for,
thinking.
but to put it on someone else who also doesn't want to put the animal down, don't think that these vets want to euthanize these animals, that it doesn't make the problem better for you or for that person. It just makes the person that has to actually go through it day after day or week after week, it makes that job so much harder and less fun and less enjoyable.
Hmm.
Um, Another example I've seen is, this isn't exactly the same, but people that have to surrender dogs for whatever reason. I've seen just a simple post about saying this dog was surrendered, blah blah blah, like it's up for adoption now. And there's people in the comments just super angry, like whoever, like, I don't, I'm gonna say this, but I don't like want it to come off as I'm saying it. It's just what people are saying. People
Yep.
literally will say, whoever surrendered this dog deserves to go to hell. Like, what are you
Hmm.
talking about? Like, that is people
People don't understand the
as,
situation there.
yeah,
Yeah.
as much as I love dogs, I literally want to go into that profession. It's one of my least favorite things is human beings talking about their dogs like they're higher value than all of us human beings. Like, you can love your
Yeah.
dog like a child to an extent, because it's not exactly a child, right? But then,
Like a child.
but then you put the dog, like, you don't care about all these other people. You just want your dog to be happy, or a dog to be happy. And I think it comes from people assume dogs have way less control over their lives, and like, oh, humans are responsible for them, so they should take all the blame, or they should, like that
Right.
person
Yes.
has said, like they should go to hell for ruining this animal's lives, which isn't always the case. A lot of times animals have opportunities for better lives once they get surrendered for certain situations. It's just how it works out. I think that in particular is really sad, that
Hmm.
it like gets to me every time I see someone like putting their dog on such a pedestal. I don't care how much you love your dog. I love my dog so much. I would never, want someone to go to hell because of the way they treat my dog. That is super irresponsible,
Yeah.
super sad.
Yeah.
I just can't get over
I
it.
mean, I know you said you might have a third here, but those first two examples are what sticks out to me is it's the common thread, the common factor is people not understanding people's situation. So it's not being rational about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned like somebody having to put their dog down. Like the they need to know that the vets and those people are just doing their jobs. And
Hmm.
then the vet needs to understand right back that like, hey, this might be really difficult for them. So they might have an emotional, visceral response because they're getting angry because they don't want to deal with the situation. Like, just get it over with. So it's
Yeah.
both sides. It's like, okay, understand you guys are humans, take care of each other. And then the second one, it's to your point, it's and this is more of a common issue today is that even if dogs is like the highest animal, your favorite animal on the food chain of animals, if you will, there's still even like the highest it can go is always below a human. Now, some humans act like garbage and are crap, whatever, but just intrinsically valuable humans are above dogs. And so
Yeah.
you might love this dog more than this human, but to your point, rationally thinking, it is
Hmm.
at the end of the day just a dog, and that is an actual person with a life in a world just like you have with experiences. So both of those examples, just like people not being rational and not understanding people's situations that they're currently living in.
Yeah. I think it's really important to separate the dog situation and the person behind it.
Yeah. Yep.
It's I understand if someone's like fighting dogs or abusing dogs, it's right to be angry about that and to want to help it and want to take the dog away, whatever. Those aren't the cases I'm talking about though, but people put those terms on someone they never heard of or a situation they don't know about. Someone there's plenty of people I volunteer at the Humane Society. We get plenty of surrenders from people who go into nursing homes and their family can't take care of the dog. They have no money. They get sick randomly. I've heard people say in the comments as well, like, well, if you're going to surrender the dog, why even get it in the first place? So
because you don't know that you're going to have to
would ask that person, okay, where are you going to be in 6 years from now? They can't answer that. They don't know. Like, what happens if you get sick in 6 years? What happens if, not that I wish that on anybody, obviously, but like, come on, like, that's such an emotional response and it's not healthy at all. Like, get it together, guys.
Honestly, it's a good question to help people to reflect. My dog is, we don't know for a fact, but it was probably a COVID puppy. So for those of you who don't know what COVID puppy is, people during COVID, they wanted something to take care of, wanted another member of the house, something to do, something exciting, something fun. So people got dogs and cats. Yeah. But then once life came back to normal and they couldn't take care of the animals anymore, a lot of people just let them go. Not even just like surrendered. They just like drop off in the wilderness or box of kittens on the highway.
Yeah.
And a lot of them didn't make it. My dog and his brother, which we don't have his brother, but they were found wandering the woods at 1 years old. But when they got them into the Humane Society, they were trained, like potty trained at least, and they didn't tear up carpets and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, so somebody had these as puppies because they're only a year old, and they trained them, and then they purposely let them go. And I say purposely because they were, how it works, right? They were found, they were advertised, they were good dog. It's like somebody literally didn't want these anymore. It's not a rabid dog. It's not just a newborn puppy.
Yeah.
So then we got him. And to your point, maybe his life, my dog's name is Spruce, would have been better initially, but the fact that they got rid of him probably wouldn't have been as good of a life as he has now with us because he was surrendered, and then we were able to have that experience. So I don't understand their situation, and I don't think it's smart to get a bunch of COVID puppies during that time. We didn't do that. But the fact that they did that, I don't think it was smart to then just get rid of him. However, I don't know their situation, so maybe it was better actually that they got rid of him and now he's with us and they're in a good spot and we're in a good spot.
Yeah. And in a situation like that, obviously I think it's understandable that it's not ever right to dump dogs. That's one of the ways people do get rid of dogs, and it's often when like humane societies don't have space. Don't do this, please, ever. Whoever's listening to this. But it sometimes goes like they're forced to take a dog in if it's found stranded. They can't just like leave it out in the wilderness. It goes to the pound and it goes to the Humane Society in that order. So usually it doesn't work well for the dogs when people do that. And I would never recommend it. But even when that happens, like you said, it can make the dog have a better life that he wouldn't have had otherwise.
Maybe we're past it. I was going to ask what your third example was from before, but we're probably past that at this point.
Well, I'll bring it up here. The third example I've seen is even sillier, honestly. It was someone playing with their dog. Maybe it was like an unsafe way to play. Like you're not supposed to pick him up off the ground with toys and everything. Like it's,
sorry.
I mean, it's pretty typical, especially when you have a super fun, like active dog. They'll jump around and whatever. I think it's fine, but it's just like, it can hurt the dog. It's not really anyone's fault. But it was someone with a dog, with a toy. The dog was having so much fun, and it was off the ground, I think for like 2 seconds, like spinning around. And again, people go in the comments and say like, this is abuse. Like, leave the dog on the ground, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, yeah, it's healthier for the dog to be on the ground. I don't recommend someone picking it up, but like, don't hate on someone for playing with their happy dog. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. You know, and
Okay.
obviously, most people in all these situations, it's always the majority are like respectful and compassionate, right? But it's the people that aren't, that are usually very loud and and let people know how they feel. And so
Hmm.
those are the people I'm talking about. And like I said before, it's, you could take out the dog words and this could apply to a lot of different situations. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
Yeah.
about any other situations because this was very like specific to me and to what I deal with.
I do think it's interesting how, I guess, and I don't want to go too deep into this because I don't want it to turn into like a gossip fest or anything, but I do think it's interesting how those same people that will be like really loud, which I think it's fine because I think there's some where it's like you need to be able to speak your mind. Like people shouldn't be afraid to talk. But the problem usually is those same people don't want to hear anything back at them or can't have an actual conversation. So it's like, hey man, you shouldn't be picking up your dog off the ground. That can really hurt them. And somebody replies, hey, yeah, we don't do this all the time. He was just really hyper and excited, and it was really fun. Also, he weighs like 10 pounds, and so he just like whips around, and he's good. And they're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, I guess, But they usually look at the response. They'll say, "Dude, I don't care. You're wrong." Blah 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 blah. It's just like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah. All stems from that emotional response we were talking about. It's
mhm.
just,
And we had a friend growing up, and uh, you guys, I'm sure everybody has somebody they know like this or a colleague or whatever, and it's not to poke fun at. I'm not going to use any names, but it's like reflect and realize like, but do I do this, and where do I do this in my own life? Where we growing up as kids, everybody's making fun of each other as guys, and we're having fun hanging out.
mhm.
People making jokes. There's one friend I know would always get in with the jokes and have a lot of fun, and then say, "Oh, your turn," and we turn it back on him. And he was mad or sad every time we did that. I was like,
Yeah.
"Bro, like you just ruined like what
Yeah.
you we just said all this about him, and her, whatever, and we were having a good time laughing, and then it came to you, and it was the worst. So it's people know that that's really annoying, but it's like where does that come from? Why do you do that? It's just taking a breath, know where people are at, understand the context, be a little humble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah.
Okay. So today, switching topics a little bit. Um. Just as growing up, and people know this before I do and have different experiences, and I'm not an expert, so I guess that's my preface statement. But it's talking a little bit about like reflecting on insurances and finances and investing and things like that. And again, I'm not an expert. I'm thinking I know I don't like insurance.
Yeah.
Like it's really annoying. However, insurance in the name, it's supposed to like in a sense, it's supposed to like insure you. Like you should be comfortable, like in case something happens. The problem is a lot of insurance money, people make a ton of money. It's like, where does that money come from? People giving it to them and them not giving it back for what it's for. So it can be very, very sketchy. So I just had a couple things like with insurance. It's like my wife and I have life insurance. We have it. It's not essential to have, but I think somebody should have it if they have a family because it's a monthly payment that you'll never get back in a lot of situations, depending on what type you get.
Hmm.
Um, but it's just like if we don't ever use it, we don't want to ever have to use it because life insurance, if something crazy bad happens.
Yeah.
So, but the balance is right. It's like, okay, if Charlotte, my wife, were to pass away, the plan we have for her is like a $750,000 benefit. So
Hmm.
like that would come back to me and to the kids and cover all the costs. And we're like, okay, great. Now we're good for that because you don't want to. The thing is, you don't want to deal with finances on top of somebody that you love passing away like that.
Yeah.
So that's like the biggest draw. So it's like, oh, we have it because we have a family and we have kids. So it makes sense. I would say if you're single, I don't know if it's worth it because where's it going to go? You can still get it, but whatever. And then another thing we looked into was dental insurance. So I didn't, this might be dumb, but I didn't realize the health insurance we have didn't include dental, or you could take dental off of it anyways.
Mm,
So we've been paying for dental for years and we haven't had a lot of things. I mentioned I had the cavity filling this morning.
yeah.
Um, but we realized, we just realized within the last couple of months, when we really crunched the numbers, that it's actually not worth it for us to have, because you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on insurance, and then we have these appointments and insurance covers it. It's like, oh, that's cool, that's great. But my encouragement would be to, hey, if you guys are looking at insurances, especially dental, ask questions about how much is your cost per month, and then if you were to go to get a routine checkup or have to get a cavity fill, how much would that cost?
Hmm.
When my wife and I did these numbers, we realized over a year we would save like $200 a year, um, by doing it this way if we had to get some stuff taken care of.
Yeah.
And if we didn't get stuff taken care of, and my wife's teeth are great and healthy and she has to keep going back, but it's like, oh, it could save even more money
Yeah.
doing it. So a couple other things. I don't want to talk too long though. I guess I don't know, what are your thoughts on insurances? Even if, big things like house and car, but even little things where you go and buy a new computer monitor and like, hey, do you want the 2-year warranty insurance or whatever on this? What are your thoughts on that stuff?
So, based on the two examples you shared, the life insurance and the dental insurance, I think something like life insurance, like you said with the family, it makes sense. But it's also like, how much money can you put on like peace of mind? Like, if it makes you feel more comfortable, then
Hmm.
I think that makes it even more worth it. A lot of people just look at numbers and be like, well, we might lose this much over time, but if it helps your mental, then it might just be worth it to
That's
do.
valuable.
Um, and then the dental insurance, a couple of years ago, I had a line of dental appointments. I had like some cavities and I had my wisdom teeth all set up, and we did that without insurance. And wasn't cheap, obviously, because no dental thing is cheap, even with insurance. But I think in the other sense, not paying for insurance, it's just more peace of mind and easier just paying it there and not have to worry about it.
You just save up and then you pay it when you need it.
Yeah. So I don't know like enough about all that stuff to give like in-depth opinions or anything like that. But I do think if you know it's like legit and it gives you peace of mind one way or the other, I think that's a big factor in it that you should think about.
Because a lot of insurance is to cover like big things that you don't foresee coming.
Hmm.
And so it's like you can't necessarily plan. You can have your own savings, like emergency savings accounts and things for like, hey, if this happens, we're pulling it from this account, not this account or whatever. But it's like, okay, car insurance. I've never gotten a ticket, never been in an accident. My car insurance is low and I have a cheap car insurance, but I still have to pay it. I've spent thousands of dollars for never having to use it.
Hmm.
My windshield has broken twice, and the car insurance I have doesn't cover windshields though.
Yeah.
So it's like, but if I pay more in my car insurance to have it covered windshield, it wouldn't be worth the cost because the windshield is like $500 or whatever, but I would have paid an extra thousands of dollars over the past 10 years. So it's like the balance of it is just crazy.
Yeah.
And then obviously insurance companies, once it gets into an actual accident, whose fault was it, blah blah blah, you're in an accident and it wasn't your fault, but your premium goes up now because you were in the accident. It's just like things like that aren't fair, but legally house and car insurance are like essential, so you have to do it. And I think because they're, what do I say, this might not come off right, but I'm gonna try it. Because they're essential, it makes them dumb. Because like I have to have this, I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But because they're so big, it'd be dumb not to have them.
Yeah.
Because the moment a tornado comes through, it's like you don't have insurance on your house.
Hmm.
Who's gonna pay for your house? Sorry, bud.
I think it's almost like a win-lose situation either way. So
Every time, yeah,
so
yeah.
with the house, like you said, if your house starts on fire or tornado, something out of your control, you definitely want the insurance. You don't want to be out of a house and have nowhere to pay for it. But you also hope to never have to use the insurance. but then you still have to pay.
Yeah.
So it's like either way, there's a bad thing and a good thing that comes from it in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like to your point is it is dumb in the sense of it doesn't really make sense needing it and wanting it when you need it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It is
I get
weird.
annoyed too of how much money these companies make. I didn't get life insurance for the longest time because I was like, you're making money off of people dying slash not dying, I
Hmm.
guess. But then there's all those little legalistic things where like, oh, you paid into this much, but this happened before they died, therefore you can't get it because their situation changed before they died. And so it's like, bro, come on. But life insurance, right? If you pay say $30 a month for 30 years, that's a lot of money. But if the flip side of that, if you get $600,000, if the death does happen, you definitely gain it. But
Hmm.
it's just that's one thing that bothers me, I guess, is how much money people make from these things.
Yeah.
And then you're a $1 trillion company, but you're not willing to give me $500 for my windshield. Like, come on, man. The last thing I'll say on it is I think Dave Ramsey, and he's big on finances, and there's other people too, and I agree with this totally. Is I don't think you should buy like the warranties on little things. So if you get a $200 computer monitor, hey, do you want to pay an extra $40 to get a free within the next 2 years if something happens? It's like that seemed like a big deal when I was like younger. Like that's a good idea actually, because I don't have $200. But
Hmm.
as you get older, that $200 should go into, or that extra $40 should go into savings. It should go into where it can
Yeah.
increase over time. Which leads me to my last point, which is about just investing. There's a lot of different investing things out there, and I'm not an expert, but my reflecting on it, my tip was I wish I would have put my steady, dead, just savings money into something earlier that would just naturally make more of a profit over time.
Hmm.
Where I'm not talking about investing in like stock markets or things that are volatile or can change a lot, where it's like literally put it in X bank account that has a 4% increase every year. And if you have $10,000 in there over 10 years, even if you don't do anything, you're gonna increase. Now with that, do that where the only other thing I would say with that is make sure there's not any fees or very, very, very low fees, and that you can take it all out within like 3 business days if an emergency happens. Because if you have like
Hmm.
$50,000 saved up and it's just sitting there, you can put it into an account that will naturally make like 4% increase over the years. And there's certain accounts that you can just literally take that out and use it whenever the heck you want without any fees. And it's like, why would you not
Yeah.
why would you not have passive increased money? And so just encourage people to look into that and to do it earlier than I have.
Yeah. I'll say I'm both, I am and am not excited for trying to learn all that stuff soon in the future, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, I know like
It's
a little bit, but I'm not quite like a full adult.
ask questions. Ask questions. I literally was
Yeah.
talking to my guy the other day, and we were kind of making a plan for a brokerage account that we started. But then I was like, wait a second. I had to call and talk to him again because I was like, wait, what's the actual increase we need to make? Because you guys get this fee percentage back and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, oh, no, that fee percentage is for the whole year, but you get paid out every quarter or whatever. And I was like, oh, this makes more sense. Because it was like they gain, on average 7.5% gains, but they need to take a percentage and a half for their
Yeah.
own self. So it's like, oh, you need to gain 6%. But I was like, wait a second. But he's like, no, that's not how it is. It's actually like a 0.375% that they take. But it's over a year, it adds up to like 1.3% for them.
Yeah.
But whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. Because I was like, this doesn't make sense. It sounds like we would make like 1% money, and like, what's the point?
Hmm.
He's like, no, that's good. But so to your point, it's ask questions, figure it out. And the biggest question I had, just where we're at as a family, is like, okay, I want to invest. I want to passively do this for to be responsible. However, we're not at a place where if something crazy were to happen, it'd just be like, oh, it's fine. We don't need that money. It's like,
Hmm.
I need to be able to pull it out in case something happens.
Yeah.
So, so um, Yeah. What are your thoughts about like stocks and stuff? You know, people always talk about it on shows, but it's like
I
over
will
my head.
I have been interested, but anytime I think or like try learning about how to do stuff like that, I get really overwhelmed. So then I end up forgetting about it like the next day.
You know what I heard once, and this was from a guy that was successful, and successful in this realm is like being right 60% of the time. But the guy said he didn't do any investing in stocks or anything. He did it all in sports betting,
Yeah, that's
which is crazy because that's a big risk. But the guy
mhm,
said, you know, like again, this is like one of the top guys ever, and he's won 55, 60% of the time because you just have to win more than you lose, and
mhm.
you know, win big, lose little. But I just like I love that idea, and at the same time would never do it because I it's too risky.
Yeah, you'd almost have to like test it out with like take a certain amount of money, like $5,000, and then over a year make bets and see how much that grows before you put more in. But you couldn't do
Hmm.
like all your money at once. That'd be insane. Because
No,
it's
yeah, exactly.
basically gambling to a point. It's
And
not
they
like
say right, you have to take a chunk, but then you only bet from the winnings of that bet, and then blah 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 blah.
have you
But
seen have you seen the guy who he bets like a dollar maybe, but like on a ton of
I've
different
heard of this.
things, and
Uh,
he's like I don't even know like 500 x his profit. He started with a dollar and he's at like 600 now. So I'm like, if you just
yeah,
follow that with like
exactly.
$10 or $20, you could potentially have a lot more money right now.
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
know.
So it's like there's a fun way to do that, but like you said, it's just sketchy. But the guy was saying, I was gonna say this is that it's like you actually have control over it versus you don't really have a lot of control over like certain stock market things that
Yeah,
happened. Now,
yeah, I get that.
to get it to a point where it actually makes benefits for retirement, like you're talking, you have to have a lot of good winnings for that to happen.
Hmm.
And the guy did it. I wish I could remember his name, but uh, it's I don't know. I love the idea of it, but I'm like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I would definitely do like low stakes stuff in sports betting at some point.
Maybe I should try that. Maybe I should get if somebody gives me like $25 for Christmas or something like that. I'll just
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
um,
Hey, all the money I'm getting for Christmas, I'm just gonna try sports betting with it because it's all gifts. It's all gifted money.
cause I feel like I've done pretty good in the past with like my thoughts. But if I'm gonna actually put money on it and I'm gonna realize like, oh, I actually wasn't right as much as I thought I was.
Yeah, but like you said, you only need to win realistically over 50% of the time to make money.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
if you bet on the right
Yep.
things,
So
I don't think I'd ever put any decent amount of money on something that's like super specific or like a 8 leg parlay. Like I'm not going to do that.
or they say like the really long term ones. So if
Hmm.
you're betting like next year's Super Bowl thing, it's like, dude, you don't know the trades that are gonna happen, injuries that are gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I want even if you do like an in season one, like I want there to be buffers onto oh what am I trying to say? Gosh, the words. I want there to be like an asterisk, like this is going through as long as the starting quarterback plays at least 80% of the games, something
Yeah.
like that. Because it's like you have a bet on the team, and then like let's say the Commanders, and then Jaden Daniels snaps his elbow. It's like, can I can I get my bet back? Because that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I think it would be fun to try with like the Christmas money like you were talking about. Maybe we could
Hmm.
try it together, see how it goes.
We should think about that. Okay. Anyways, that's gonna be a wrap for us today on the Mirrors podcast. So hopefully you learned a little bit about Battlefield, a little bit about. I guess I don't even know what I would call yours.
I labeled it um, animal welfare professionals suicide rate, but it's not just about suicide.
Yeah.
It's about the occupational related stress response symptoms.
There you go.
So,
The OSRS baby. There you
hmm,
go. OSRS, and then a little bit about just getting you thinking about insurance investment, and again, not to be negative about it, but just to realize like, hey, what makes sense for me in my life, and what do I need with where I'm at. So sweet. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace. I'm gonna have to cut this because I can't find my mouse. Where's my mouse? I can't stop it. There it is. Okay.
Like a dog in the street. Oh.